Manchester United scored a 96-minute goal to snatch a last-gasp draw away to Bournemouth at the Vitality Stadium yesterday. Now we're going to look at the good, the bad, and the awful. Starting with the good. And being honest, there's not many positives to take from this game. I think the only one, obviously, is the fact that the team kept going. They didn't give up to get that last gasp goal in the 96th minute. And obviously it was Rasmus Højlund that got the goal. I know we've been critical of him in the past for what comes across as the very little that he does on the pitch. But in fairness to him, he never gives up. He's always trying to do something. And I think for him personally, that goal will hopefully raise his confidence a bit, especially looking ahead to such an important game on Thursday night. It should do his confidence the world of good. But yeah, there wasn't many positives in that game at all. I think obviously Højlund scoring, I think, is pretty much the only positive in that game. Now for the bad. And I think the big thing for me was, watching the game, you can tell that the players have, I wouldn't say given up on the Premier League, but that they're concentrating on the Europa League, and that's what they're prioritising. It's just a lack of effort in the game yesterday, lack of intensity. There was just nothing from them. It was just, like I said, it was just a lack of intensity and a lack of effort. They really look like a team that's given up on the league and they don't care. Like I said it before the game when I saw the lineup, I was fully expecting another rotated lineup. Given Amram has already said he wants to experiment with the kids in the league now that the Europa League is a priority. But he pretty much started at full strength. And on one hand, you can understand, yes, the players need to keep their match sharpness up, especially ahead of a big game. With a long layoff as well, it can have the negative effect that, the players can lose that match sharpness. But given the squad, I expected some level of a performance from the team, and there just wasn't one. And it took, in fairness to them, they did keep going. They did try to get something out of the game. But for so long, we've just seen a lack of intensity with this squad, and it takes us going behind for the team to wake up and almost start trying. It's just, to me, it's crazy at that level. The biggest club in the world, and there's just a lack of effort on the pitch. And I think this summer transfer window, I've said it before and I say it again, this summer transfer window coming up is arguably our most important in a decade. We have to get everything right. The players out and the players in. And arguably the players going out are more important than the players coming in, because there's a lot of players in the squad that aren't good enough to play for Man United. And given the financial situation of the club, we're not going to be looking at world-class players coming in. But more important, I think we need to be getting players with the right attitude and the right mentality in, because otherwise we're going to be in the same boat next season. But look, I think Ineos have shown last summer that they have an eye for young talent, and they're able to get deals done with low enough fees, get players in on low enough wages, and they're straight into the starting 11. So I'd be hopeful that next year we can turn around. But look, the focus is the Europa League now. And then the awful, and I think there's only one thing to talk about in this section, and it's the level of the standard of officiating in the Premier League this season as a whole has been absolutely atrocious. And some of the decisions in that game yesterday were absolutely abysmal. Like, when you consider that some of these referees and assistants are some of the so-called best in England, it's absolutely ridiculous. There was the tackle in the first half, I think it was Adams on Garnacho, and it was off the ground, it was 2-footed, catches Garnacho, and he got a booking. VAR looked at it and thought, no, that's okay. You know, we're happy not to overturn that decision and upgrade it to a red. But it was more of a red than the red card that was given for Evanilson in the second half. For that one, you could see he was coming in to challenge Mazraoui. He was running towards him. You could see him try to slow down, and he slips, loses his footing, and his 2 feet come up in the air, and he catches Mazraoui. But you could clearly see he slipped, and that's what caused him to go into the challenge the way he did. And VAR looked at it and said, no, that's a red card. At worst, it was a booking. And then, of course, you have the challenge on Patrick Dorgo that saw Patrick Dorgo get a yellow card. Like, again, down the corner, Dorgo comes across, gets his foot in, toe pokes the ball away, and the Bournemouth player kicks Dorgo, and he gets a yellow card for it. Like, Dorgo got a yellow card. It was just absolutely shocking. Like, the level of officiating in the Premier League this season is just, like, you'd expect it in non-league football. Some of the decision making, like, VAR is there to help, and they're of no benefit at all to any of the officials. I think VAR in its current form is not fit for purpose. It needs to be overhauled completely. And I think a lot of the officials, it's like as if they're afraid to make certain decisions because they have VAR to rely on. And maybe that safety net needs to be taken away from the referees and try and get the decisions made on the pitch. But at the same time, then you're looking at some of the decisions they are making on the pitch, or some of the decisions that they're not making because they're missing clear and obvious fouls and errors, handballs, everything. Like, it's just absolutely shocking. I hope that it gets better in the future. I don't see how. But something needs to be done about the level of officiating in the Premier League, because it's just absolutely substandard. But look, I mean, it's another drab performance from United in a season. You know, a season is just, it'd be better if it just ended now. I know we still have the Europa League. We're fighting for that. That's where our focus needs to be. But in terms of the league, it's been absolutely atrocious. But yeah, look, I mean, it's all focused now on the Europa League on Thursday night. You know, playing the away leg first against Athletic Club. I think it's vitally important that we get a result there. And bring the second leg back to Old Trafford and do the business there and get into that Europa League final and then go on and win it. Because after our performance last week in the Europa League, we have to want to win it now. There's no way you can go through all that drama and not win it. But yeah, look, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, what can you say about that game? You know, there was elements where it's just the same old United yet again. But yeah, let me know your thoughts about the game. What did you think? And what do you rate our chances of getting through to the Europa League final? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Smash a like on the video if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, and we'll catch you later.